The Trump cult is at it again. Watch as this insane Trump supporter tries to justify why she thinks drag queens are more dangerous than guns.
But guns is my right. I know how to handle them. I've taken training. I've raised my kids. Guns are our primary. It's our right, our Second Amendment right that I refuse to give up, and many of our people refuse to give up.
Not even just talking about. I'm just talking about the danger. You talked about how it's poisoning our kids.
From law-abiding citizens, and the thugs and the criminals are still going to have their guns. I want to be able to protect myself from a thug or a criminal. I want to protect, if I'm in a school visiting my grandkids and there's a shooting, I want to be able to pull out and stop.
But you just said it, if there's a school shooting. As far as I can tell, people haven't died from drag, and that's why I asked the question.
Look at the transvestite that went in and did the school shooting. Come on, it's a mental health. It's mental health is what it is. The mental health and, the books that are in our schools. So many things have got to change in our country, and Trump is making the change.
I'm Rayy Vana, and welcome back to Rebel HQ. I apologize for making you listen to the incoherent ramblings of a member of the MAGA cult. I have to highlight that woman just said that she wants to bring a gun into an elementary school where her grandchildren go, as she fantasizes about stopping a school shooter. So even in her long-winded, ridiculous way of explaining why she thinks drag queens are more dangerous, she accidentally highlights the reality of the fear that Americans live in because of guns. A parent's worst fear in America is they're going to send their kids to school with their backpacks and they're going to be sent home in a body bag. Because year after year, school shooting after school shooting, America refuses to crack down on the sale of weapons and allows the people who will go on to carry out these mass atrocities to legally purchase guns in the first place. She also goes out of her way to mention that there has in the past been one transgender male mass shooter. What she fails to mention is that almost every other mass shooter in this country is a straight white male. And I wouldn't expect her to know, but there is a difference between being transgender and being a drag queen. She then very bizarrely goes on to blame the books at school for apparently causing school shootings. I really don't know what she was trying to convey there. She does provide, though, at the beginning of that clip, an argument that you hear a lot of right-wingers and a lot of gun rights activists say. I want to be able to protect myself from somebody else who has a gun. Now, if they're afraid that tougher gun control laws mean that only criminals will have guns, then that necessarily means that the states that have the strongest gun control legislation should also have the highest rates of gun violence. Unfortunately for her and all the others who make that argument, the exact opposite is true. The top 8 states in this country with the strictest gun control legislation also have the lowest rate of gun violence. Conversely, the states that have the least gun control restrictions, that have the most free, so to speak, gun laws, have the highest rates of gun violence. And if we look even more broadly at other countries compared to the United States, the countries that have the strictest gun control regulations have the least amount of shootings, because when you massively restrict the ability to purchase a firearm, the result of that is that it makes it significantly more challenging for criminals to get their hands on guns as well. Now, another very common argument you hear from right-wingers is the argument that I will let this man make.
It's needs to be protected, the Second Amendment, as far as, what would be the means to protect us for, the type of stuff that comes against us. But it's to take away one particular weapon based on what we're seeing isn't just justified.
It's not justified.
No, I don't think so. I think it's because it's not the weapon, it's not the gun that's...
Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Incidentally, they use guns to kill people, and when you have a gun, it's a lot easier to kill a lot of people. Now take a look at what he blames for an increase in mass shooting.
Because it's not the weapon, it's not the gun that's causing the crimes. It's the mental dysfunction that we're having with there's just so much going on in our country where we don't have enough support for mental illness. The mental illness is the real fight we're fighting right now. We need support for all the people in the world. We've had so many suicides of people, young children, adults, actors, musicians that have committed suicide through mental illness, and that's really the battle we're fighting right now.
Now, this is a bit of a red herring. Because in this country, we do need more resources and we do need more support for people who have mental health problems that are suffering through some sort of mental health issue. However, when it comes to carrying out a mass shooting, of course, a person who is willing to shoot as many people as possible and take as many lives as possible is going to have some sort of mental illness. The argument is that they shouldn't be allowed to own a gun. And if we both help treat those mental health problems and prevent the people suffering through them from getting weapons, that we can massively decrease the number of shootings in this country. And most people who suffer mental health issues in the United States pose a significantly higher risk to their own health and safety than to the health and safety of others, which leads us into the next point he made, the high rate of suicide in the United States, which, as far as gun deaths go, typically constitutes more than half of all gun deaths in America every year. So far in 2023, it's 52% of all gun deaths, and it's about 19,000 people who have died by suicide. But the massive amount of deaths by suicide in America is also a consequence of our lax gun control regulations. An individual who is suffering from suicidal ideations is significantly more likely to take their own life if there is a gun present in their household. This is also why we see that although women are more likely to attempt suicide, men are more likely to die by suicide because men are more likely to have access to a firearm. So it's not, is the solution to gun violence mental health resources, or is it gun restrictions? There's no reason why we can't and shouldn't do both. That being said, the NRA, along with other gun lobbyists, are currently fighting battles in courts all across the United States to get guns in the hands of dangerous individuals who want to use those guns to harm other people. As a quick example, currently gun rights advocates are arguing that domestic abusers should have the right to own a firearm. Now, a firearm being present in the house is the number one indicator that a domestic abuse situation is going to become fatal, that a domestic abuser is going to kill their victim. And the NRA wants that to happen. So it's crucial that you ensure that the candidates you vote for are advocates of gun reform, are advocates of gun control legislation, so that we can finally, after decades and decades of mass shooting atrocities, begin the process of preventing the next atrocity, so that we never have to turn on the news again and hear the number of victims in a deadly mass shooting somewhere in America.